What is going on, everybody? BobbyFi and Eric Sheetshaber. We're going to be talking through both baseball slates. We have the 10 o'clock early slate starting first. I guess I'll share my screen real quick and we can go through our thoughts. I'm sure Sheets has already run some builds for this and got some things going on. I guess first of all, I should say I had a good day yesterday. I did end up cashing in that early one with the big one, and I ended up cashing with my bigger one in the second one. So it was a good day. Not an amazing day, but a good day.
What got there for you? The Kansas City?
What got there for me in the evening one was the Dodgers, honestly.
Okay.
I was a little more chalky with that, and the Marlins co-stack didn't help that much, but 8, 7, 5 points is good enough to cash there. So that's pretty much what I had.
Yeah, I did poorly on DraftKings, but once again I got like fifth in that FanDuel monster.
Is this becoming the Sheets Open now? Can we have a different conversation?
And that includes, I had the Twinkies and like the Twins, who they had 4 runs, which is plenty,
right,
against Cleveland. I mean, they had guys who literally were under 1% owned, and that was kind of, and then you had, on the other hand, I had some Braves. Michael Harris, I don't know how big of a slate it was last time. It was pretty big.
Yeah, 13.
He was 49% owned. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the way everybody flocked to Atlanta and St. Louis, like you wouldn't believe, because
that's what I thought you had cashed on. I thought you.
I'm sorry. You're right. It was a Dodgers. St. Louis was the cashing, and the non-cashing was the Dodgers with the Marlins. Excuse me. Sorry, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah. But I never really quite had a chance. But it was, it looked like it for a minute maybe, but that was about it. But yeah, it was one thing that's happening, especially I think as we get closer with football, and people are just not, even the people who are playing, I don't think are paying as much attention. So I really do think that I think the ownership just feels like a little bit, like I didn't think the Cardinals were going to be a 35% owned stack and the Braves be a 40% owned stack on a 12-game slate. That seems like kind of crazy. So I think you're going to see some of these spots that look good and semi-obvious becoming like super obvious. That's just a thought from what's happened the last few days, because I noticed the day before, can't remember what team it was, but there was somebody who was like 30% owned who we thought would be like 10% owned as a stack. So I was a little surprised to see that. What are your thoughts on this early slate today?
Well, the one thing I will say is there's a lineup change that first of all that we don't know about yet. You have Bo Bichette, who's questionable for Toronto, and the Toronto, I don't think that lineup is out yet.
Yeah.
And I just saw that Josh Jung was out. So I have to redo everything. Like when I first looked at it, it seemed like pretty clear with those 3 top pitchers, like Gausman, Sale, and Eflin. Just as far as like who the best plays are. But I don't know. I mean, I'm getting, as I run Sims, I'm getting all kinds of stupid shit. I'm getting some really, like everybody. I'm getting some Rocker, some Woods Richardson, Cantillo, whatever. But I think the best plays are certainly some combination of Sale, Gausman, and Eflin. And listen, if you thought Atlanta was going to get jammed yesterday, I mean, I haven't run like non-sim related builds here, but like they project just so much better than everybody else.
Yeah.
That I imagine that they're going to be really, really chalky. And I look at their team total, even though this is the fraudulent SaberSim team total, but it's like a full run and a half, like higher than everybody else.
Yep.
Who's pitching for Cincinnati?
Aguilar.
I mean, is he like a little league pitcher? I mean, like
no. He actually had a good. I actually played him last time he started. I don't even actually know. I don't. Before I say he had a good start, I should probably double check that because I played him with my double spend down the last time when that guy Basso was 4K. But Aguilar, I think he was good. I mean, he was 60. He put up 16 fantasy points. He's been like, he doesn't have a huge leash. He hasn't shown great strikeout stuff, but it's Cincinnati. It's the Braves in Cincinnati. And by the way, the Braves were very fortunate to get there very, very late last night. They had one run. They had no runs, I think, until like the 7th or 8th inning, maybe one. Anyway, but yeah, I think that's going to be the clear chalk. One thing you could do to get different, again, this is maybe getting astronomically different, but I would consider Cincinnati as maybe not a stack, but I would use some righties. Chris Sale this year against lefties has been basically untouchable. Like he's giving up 8% hard hit rate against lefties, which is just kind of insane. So I actually think that getting a little bit of Cincinnati on the other side is an interesting way to go. You don't necessarily need to stack it or any way, but maybe you play Ty France at 3,100 against him or something like that. And again, I think this is more along the lines I'd want at least 4-man stacks probably, unless I was, playing the Braves, I guess. But I kind of like the idea of getting to a little bit of Baltimore. Even though I like Webb in general, I just think Baltimore's got the other team with upside. And so for me, I would probably be deciding, I'd probably use Braves as like a 3-man stack and either use Baltimore or potentially Texas Texas, Toronto, and San Francisco would be the teams for low ownership. What did the Sims give you today?
Yeah, so I'm getting way under on sale. I'm getting like 20% sale.
Okay.
Yeah, my highest owned pitcher by a ton is Gauss. And then actually after that is Logan Webb, followed by Eflin, and then Sale. I also, I mean, again, like I hate to keep belaboring this point, but if Bichette's out, I mean, I guess that doesn't make too much of a difference. But I mean, I don't have too much rocker right now. Maybe I would go to more of him. But yeah, so currently I have a Gausman as my highest own, and you hit the nail right on the head. I have like all the Reds. Let's maybe we get I don't want to say bad sale because it doesn't seem like there's such a thing right now. But
he's been unbelievable this year. It's crazy.
I tell you, close my eyes and
Yeah, exactly. But look, it's baseball. It's one game. It's not necessarily. I mean, it's not like they can't score on the bullpen also, and they can't score 2 runs off of him and 4 off the bullpen. That's completely within their realm, and that might be good enough.
It's a short slate. Anything's
yeah.
Anything is possible, but it's a rough scene. But listen, that's what you got to do in baseball, I think.
And the funny part is, it's not like their total is higher than the Giants. Their total is higher than it's the same as the Blue Jays, who I also think would be another team you could think about pivoting with. So it's not like they have no total because it's Cincinnati and such good hitting weather. And, look, Spencer Steer, Jonathan India, Ty France, Espinola, cheap, other than what's his name? Other than Steer, you have cheap righties. And I just, maybe you throw Ellie into the mix because for a 5-man, but I don't think that just in general, I try to avoid lefties against Sale just because he's especially dominant against lefties. But there's enough righties in there to certainly Noel Marte. They're super cheap. I think it makes a lot of sense. And then you could play the 3-man stack with the Braves, and that that might be good enough. But Cheech, you would have hated my early build that got there. It was a 2-2-2-2 by the end of it because I made some shifting. But it was only a 3-game slate yesterday, so it was like it wasn't that crazy. And I got the two right Arizona pieces, which was helpful, or one of the right pieces, especially in Carroll. But yeah, sort of a funky early slate. We're going to keep doing these things, guys, for the rest of the regular season. And then in the playoffs, we'll probably do touch on one baseball show a day. And just a reminder, we will have a football tonight as well. Do you want to jump into the main slate?
Yeah, it's going to be feels like it's going to be a very low-scoring showdown slate tonight. But
I think so too. Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say.
We'll deal with that when we get there. Should I share my screen?
Yeah, you share your screen. I'll stop mine. Let me just do this. Give me 1 sec. There we go.
I just don't know where it is.
All right, take your time.
No, you know what I mean? I don't know where. Oh, there it is. So let's.
And guys, just a reminder, we only have one week left on these free trials, so I would encourage anybody interested to get involved now. I would talk about the NFL tournament, but it's already sold out. So we're gonna make it bigger next time, and we're doing it like just a TrueDFS, just for fun stuff, and then eventually we'll start doing some prizes and whatnot. All right, Boston and Tampa Bay. What do you like?
Yeah, I like Bello quite a bit. He's one of my top 2 pitchers, and I believe it's one of the field's top 2 pitchers as well. So I'm not really putting one over on anybody. I don't recall Bello having all this upside. I haven't really checked to see it. I've gotten to him a couple of times this year. It just seemed like just a guy that keeps the ball down. It doesn't do a lot of damage. But then again, Tampa does give up a decent amount of fantasy points. So 35% ownership seems a little rough, but I am getting quite a bit of him. I think he is my highest owned in my early Sims as well. So there's definitely that. The other side of this, I'm not really getting to any. Well, hold on. I was about to say I'm not getting to any Littell, but he certainly looks reasonable. I mean, he certainly is within the range of like top 5 or 6 pitchers I have on the slate. So I'm gonna not discount him. As far as the hitting, Boston or Tampa, I would imagine if anybody it would be Boston, but not really getting to either of them.
Yeah, so I think both pitchers are a little bit interesting. I mean, just take a look at what Pepio did last night. He threw 76 pitches. He had 11 strikeouts.
Oh, he was mowing them down.
Yeah, I mean, if they wanted to, they could have left him in easily to close that game out. Like, he was just killing them. So, and Littell has like shown a little bit of upside, but the problem is like you're going to run into some starts, see this 86 pitch count where that becomes like 65, and they just do that. I don't know why. I don't know the rhythm or rhyme or rhythm behind it all, but we've seen that a number of times. So even in spots where he was pitching well. So Bello is the higher upside play. I do think Littell is in play, and I consider both these guys, but I'm not going to cross off on a 6-game slate only, both the stacks. Bello at times does get himself into trouble, and I think it's kind of interesting to play some Tampa Bay, cheap, low ownership. I wouldn't mind getting to a little bit of Tampa Bay against Bello, but not a priority.
That's interesting. Okay.
He definitely has a range of outcomes, that Bello. I never quite know how much to trust him. Even though I like him, I like his general profile as a pitcher. Just he's had some really weird starts, and for whatever reason, he's actually about the same. He's gotten a little bit better on the road than he was earlier in the season. He was better at home. Now it's kind of evened out a little. All right. So which one do you have first of the second games here? I'm guessing is it going to be Pittsburgh St. Louis, or is it going to be Arizona Milwaukee?
I have Arizona Milwaukee.
Okay.
But before I get that, I just wanted to see if this team plays today. I think this team might be off today, or maybe whatever. No, the team I was about to mention. Mm-hmm. Somebody posted something. I literally I just couldn't believe it. One game out of a half game out of the playoffs are the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, unbelievable. Actually, I should have mentioned that. That was shocking to me. I know they were like 4.5 back or 5.5 back a couple weeks ago, but so I just sort of like thought, okay, there's too many teams to catch up with. But everybody else been losing, so somehow they've been on fire. They've won 8 out of 10, so they are a half game out of the Twins, and there's a lot of teams still competing for it, but it's really realistically going to be the 2 of the Tigers, Twins, Royals, basically almost for sure. I mean, it's going to be really hard for Seattle to catch them now after their losses lately. So yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, can you believe that though? Like, who would have thought that this season? Even the way it's played out, we've done these shows every day, and it's been very rare that we've talked about the Tigers being a sneaky good team. We've mentioned it a few times, but it's kind of wild. All-Star DFS is in the chat. He says he lives 5 minutes outside of Detroit. He didn't even know that. That's cool.
It's who's the manager?
I actually don't know, top of my head.
Well, he's whoever he is winning the manager of the year. I mean, like,
he probably should. That's for sure.
Nobody even knew they were near the playoffs, and nobody even knows the guy's name. So I mean, the guy's got to win just for that.
It's either him or it's got to be either him or the Royals manager, right?
They're the Royals manager. They're loaded. See, he doesn't.
Well, but I don't think they. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough with the Littell. By the way, for those of you guys who play on DraftKings a lot, they sent me a gift thing. Check it out, and it's different for everybody. I'm sure Sheets' gift will be nicer, but just take a look in your spam folder because they send these out and they don't really make it clear. So
I get nothing.
I'm sure. I know you're in a much more competitive state because you've got to legalize gambling, but I'm sure they sent you something.
You think I got something today? Let's see.
Maybe it could have been yesterday.
What, just some random?
The
host usually reaches out to me if I get anything, but
this is like a smaller, it was like for me it was like a Rams jacket, you know what I mean?
Was it? Where would I wouldn't even know where to look. So
it would just be in your spam. Yeah, I just found it in my spam folder, and I was like, oh, I should capitalize on that.
They just sent everybody jackets. Is that what you're saying?
Or like slides, but no, but that's for my tier. I'm a lower tier than you are. So it's a little different.
I don't
I love
know.
that you still use your credits, by the way. It cracks me up. I love that you really make advantage of those credits.
Well, what do you mean? You mean like the FPPs and stuff?
The FPPs, I always wait till the end of the year to use them. I don't know why that like syncs with my brain, but I always do.
Listen to me. There's a couple of things that I know. Okay.
Yeah.
I was present, as were you, on whatever the day was when poker shut down.
Oh my God.
And billions of dollars and FPPs and all that stuff just went with abeyance for years. Okay.
Right.
Also, a very wise man once told me when I first started DFS, take all of your money out whenever you cash for something. You could always put it back on. Okay.
Yeah.
And that is true. And the other thing is that, I mean, this happened to me before. I had a credit card that had like zillions of points, and they canceled my credit card.
Oh my God.
For no reason. And the points disappeared.
That's terrible. Okay. That's fair enough. That's a good argument.
So there's literally no reason to keep these things. So as long as I'm going to continue to get value out of them each time, I'm going to empty them. I
think what happened was, so some sites, when they first started doing the frequent program, the more you had would actually affect the amount that you kept.
Fair enough.
But this does not have that. So this is not relevant here. But
I'm the worst. I mean, do you follow all the achievements and the chests and all? I don't even know.
I try to because I want to take anything I can for not free, but for whatever. But I try to go through it all and do all that and do my boosts and all that stuff Sundays and things like that. But yeah, it's a big thing. Anyway, so we can. Do you want to move on to the next one, to the Arizona Milwaukee? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so Arizona Milwaukee, I have Fat as he's always looks the same. He's like fifth or sixth best. He's like 20% owned, and he looks like kind of reasonable. Myers, I'm not really getting to, and then on the other side of this, I'm really not getting to much of the hitting here. You like anything here?
Yeah, I actually really like Arizona.
Ooh, there you go. Okay.
Myers has been, again, a high upside, but definitely has a downside pitcher. He just faced Arizona in his last start, and they got to him pretty good. They had 9 hits and 4 runs in 6 innings. Nothing crazy, but back-to-back starts against the highest scoring team in baseball feels like a good spot to get Arizona in a buy low spot. Also, Arizona is flooded with lefties. This is a great lefties hitters park. I think Arizona is a terrific team. And if I was stacking one team today that was going to be, just because of the ownership and everything, I think Arizona might be that team for me. So I wanted to throw that. All right. Moving over to Pittsburgh and St. Louis. I don't like anything else. I don't like Fott. I mean, Fott, you can always make a case for, but even Myers, I guess, but there's no way I'm playing those guys realistically. All right. Next up is Pittsburgh, St. Louis. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Fetty and Ortiz, in what will probably be another chalky St. Louis situation. What do you think here?
I believe that is the case. I believe we have a chalky St. Louis situation, but I don't know. I'm not convinced. I kind of like Fetty a little bit. Not a priority or anything like that, but listen, they did score 10 yesterday, so whatever, but I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah, it feels a little like, and also like, it's not like they have this giant run total. It is like 90 degrees there, like for what it's worth. So that's good. And I thought they were going to look better just because the lack of credit for Ortiz. If you're playing 150, I would make sure to get some of Ortiz. I don't think that it's that exciting of a pitching slate where you can't make a wild 2% on play on Ortiz and it pay off. We've seen St. Louis get dominated all year, or a lot of the year. I think they make a lot of sense, but they're getting a little more ownership. Actually, it's not quite as high as I thought. So being as that it's not quite as high as I thought, I'll leave them on the list and I'll put Fetty as the. I think Fetty is just like there's nothing exciting about this play, but it's Pittsburgh. They have not been hitting any pitching really, especially righties. Their lineup is just sort of died a little bit.
I don't.
They did better last night.
I have to say that I'm running Sims right now, and I'm just reporting this.
Yeah,
is that they want me to play some of these Pirates? I'm just saying. I don't know. The names look pretty good, you know. O'Neal Cruz, McCutchen, Reynolds, Joey Bart hitting fifth at catcher, Kiner Falefa leading off. So I'm actually like the top rated ROI lineup of my whole portfolio right now is actually a game stack of this game.
Okay.
Yeah, of Cardinals Pirates. So that's interesting.
I kind of like that too. It's funny. I didn't think about it that much at first. And Fetty is like, he's been solid mostly this season, but this is not a guy we should be like totally afraid of. The one thing is he keeps the ball on the ground enough. He doesn't really tend to usually get lit up, but maybe this is a good argument for a game stack this game. I think it's actually very reasonable. So I can get behind it. I didn't think about it at first, but I definitely can get behind it. I still prefer the Arizona if we can get to them. They're going to be harder to get to because they're expensive, but I love that offense. All right, what is next up? And you had your best pitcher as Bello. I think my best pitcher. Oh no, it's not going to be this next game.
Well, actually, my top owned guy we're going to get to.
Okay.
I have a. Okay, we can just keep going.
No. Okay, yeah. What were you going to say?
No, nothing. It was a Saber something. Well,
okay.
It's for another video.
Okay, for another video. Okay.
It's like totally for another.
All right, Severino and Walker in New York.
Sure, I'll try. I mean, the Phillies look decent. Let me see if I'm actually getting them. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting Phillies are my third highest owned sim stack right now. So, and it makes sense also. So I don't mind that. Severino is 9K. Wait a minute. Yep. Severino is 9K here. No, I'd rather play Philly, honestly.
Yeah.
So Severino, no. Walker, no. I'll try the Phillies.
Yeah, I on paper I like both of the lineups here too. The problem is, I mean, look, it's New York, so it's whatever, Shea Stadium, Citi Field, whatever I have to say these days. Yeah. But you do have 10-mile-an-hour winds going against you. It is, obviously warm and humid in New York, so that part's good, I guess. But it's gonna be harder to hit home runs tonight, just for what it's worth. But I do think that Philly you have Severino getting some serious ownership here, and I don't see either of these teams being owned. And also, what I love, Sheets, more than anything, is stacking against your former pitcher. And Taijuan Walker was just a Met not too long ago for a while, so I'm going to sign on for that. Narratives should not work in baseball. And this is not really this one actually should. This has some merit. But what's weird, is Miguel Rojas, for example, he played for Miami most of his whole career, and then you look where he's hit home runs when he's been on the road. It's almost always in Miami. It makes no sense. But in this case, I think it makes some sense. I prefer the Mets to the Phillies slightly, but I think that both are really, really in play.
Well, hitting against your former pitchers, or even pitching against your former team, that's not even a narrative. You know what I mean? Like that's like a skill thing.
That is a skill thing. I meant for a hitter just to be going to his former team where he used to play.
I don't care about that. But right. if he's facing a pitcher that he's seen warm up, and not only that, but I think with all these analytics and stuff, the pitchers, if they're paying attention, I mean, whatever. I don't know. I wonder if the pitching staff gives a crap about what they tell the hitters
right
on their team. The pitchers are on their island. They only play when they're on the field. But
I know the Dodgers guys do, because they talk about it all the time, and my family watches every pregame show, and they talk about all of the hitters. And maybe it's no coincidence that when Michael Busch and Cody Bellinger go back to LA, they keep hitting home runs every single time. Every single time. Corey Seager, every time he's back in LA, home run. Maybe that has something to do with it. But yeah, I think the overall point in general, find the one that makes logical sense, not the narrative that doesn't.
What's the weather? What's the weather in Chicago?
So it sort of looks like it's like a little bit of a crosswind that is somewhat blowing in from right, but it doesn't seem to have affected the total much. And you are going to have, well, I guess it affected it some. You're going to have an incredibly chalky Cubs stack, and it's going to be hard to argue against that.
Yeah, I'm not exactly getting all that much of it. Okay. I would have thought that I would have gotten that as well, but for whatever reason, I'm just not. It's getting like 15%, whatever. What I am getting is all the Assad for Chicago. He's right now my top owned. He's like even more than Bello right now. So at 6,300, and that's just kind of the way it is. So I like that. I like the Cubs, just not quite getting there, and maybe because they probably rate to be kind of highly owned. So definitely Assad, and it makes me feel better that it's not like wind blowing straight out, right? So I do like that, and that's about it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make my bold stance of the day, and I don't even know for sure that I'm playing this slate, but if I do, I'm most likely going to be playing Patrick Corbin. Look, I just want to point out that since the All-Star break in 11 starts, he's been over 20 fantasy points. He seems to have found something back again. He's still going to give up home runs. He's going to have those games. He's going to occasionally get wild and have those games. The Cubs, who are going to put, they've got Happ as a switch hitter. He's a good righty. They've got some good righties in there, but Patrick Wisdom is like being the highest owned player for a guy who doesn't even play regularly and is always scheduled to play, but doesn't even get to make it in against lefties a lot of the time. I just don't want to do any part of that. So if I did stack the Cubs, I would be trying to use the lefties just to get different. But I actually am on the side of Corbin as a pitcher on a smaller slate to take a gamble. I mean, look, he and Assad project within 1 point of each other. It's not like even his projection is so egregious. And I don't think I've ever recommended Patrick Corbin in the whole time we've been doing stuff. But I think Patrick Corbin is viable today. That's just my take. And I think that's a good way to get different on a small slate. So whether you want to use the Arizona stack, the St. Louis Pittsburgh game stack, the Philly and Mets game stack even. But if you get Corbin, you're getting extreme leverage on the field. So that's my take. No response to my Corbin love? Nothing?
No, I got no issues. I got no problem with that.
All right.
I'm getting a couple of them.
Okay.
It's gonna, like I said, if he's gonna be 5% owned, and the Cubs are gonna be 20% owned stack, you don't have to say another thing. I mean, really, that's
right. That's it. Yeah.
So Angels Houston, this is it, man. We're here for it. We're here for the Angels 10 ball against Kikuchi.
Okay, so that's the other hot take I figured you were going to come with. Okay.
Yeah, that's probably why I wasn't as pumped about the Corbin thing, because I was getting juiced about the Angels showing up. Now, of course, it would be nice if like either Mike Trout or Joe Adell, like same player, right? We're playing. But aside from that, I mean, listen, I've seen this before. Like Kikuchi's, he's good. And he's got a range of outcomes. And it's just, this is one of those games where they're probably like a 2.5 to 1 favorite, right? At least. And no one's going to give an F. Kikuchi's going to go out and think he's going to just do whatever. And then just not exactly, he'll be wild within the zone. And at 30% ownership. And next thing you know, the Angels have 3 home runs on the board. So that's my take here. As far as projections go, sure, Kikuchi rates to be one of the better plays. I actually do have a decent amount of him. I have like probably a little less than Field on 25%, but my right now my top owned stack, I mean alongside of Gulp, Philly, and Pittsburgh, are the Angels. So I don't know. We'll just see what happens.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting take. I like it. I love getting different on these small slates, so I'm totally good with it. I personally don't think if I play tonight, I'll probably just play like one lineup, and I don't think I'll end up doing that. But I do think I'll probably play Kikuchi, just like eat the chalk, because I'm just probably going to play Corbin, which feels so weird to say out loud, but that's probably what I'm going to do. And I'm also considering, although I got to decide if it's the right slate for Corbin. I wish he was like a little cheaper. Like if there was a big price gap between him and the other guys, there's just really not. So you need him to outperform them. But he's been doing it. He's been actually the most consistent of these guys lately. Houston's going to be the most popular team on the slate. And I will probably, if I was playing a lot of lineups, I'd be underweight the Houston stack. If I was going to be playing like a low stack, like I don't know, Arizona. It'd be hard to play Arizona and Houston because they're expensive, but actually there's some cheap spots in Houston. Yeah, if I was playing a low owned stack, I have no problem with getting to some Houston. Even though I like Corbin, I still think I thought the Cubs would be the most popular stack. And I think they should be. But I guess the fact that Corbin's been better lately and Houston's got the highest run total is speaking volumes. And Houston, their offense has let me down so many times. I might have to just like throw them in as a 3-man as a complimentary stack for my one lineup tonight, probably. Because I really hate this slate, but that's why I'm bringing it. I hate any slate where I'm literally, I want to play Patrick Corbin. I don't know if I should love it though. I don't know what shouldn't I love it because I found a way to get different, but it's such an insane thing to do. It feels like, but I don't know. It's baseball, and Corbin has been.
There's just no upside of pitcher.
Have you seen Corbin's like latest stuff though? Like he's been dealing. Like he put up 27 against the Yankees not long ago. He put up 28 against Colorado, 20, and the other ones are Miami. But I mean, I don't know, man. I'll take a gamble. That's my take.
Sure.
All right, so we'll be live later at 6 Eastern for baseball, and I'm gonna ask you to a quick question before we get out of here. But after we get out of here.